2021 BET award show that recently commenced. And listen, there's a lot to take from it, and just want to share my thoughts about it. And I wanted to bring some things to the forefront, into the light, for my subscribers to maybe look at things from a different perspective. And by the way, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, why not do that now? And also click that bell button so you can be notified when I drop a video, so you can watch it immediately. And again, BET is the BET of today is not the BET that I grew up watching. You know, black entertainment, you know, and the fact that it's been something that we've been doing since we arrived to this continent. We've been entertaining, whether it's white folks, whether it's ourselves. That's who we've become, right? That's a part of our culture. It's in our nature, more than here than anywhere else in the world, to be entertainers, right? And it's on steroids now in the modern day and age, because it seems like that's the lane in the vein that a large majority of us are choosing to go to. Obviously, you can be very lucrative in this particular field and industry. You can also create generational wealth, and you can also be very influential on your peers and also on future generations, because we see the ramifications of that. And listen, at one point in time, we had values. We had values that were beneficial to the culture. We had values that protected the culture, that had boundaries, guidelines, right? And, you know, we were proud of that. We stood on that. We were unapologetic about that. We weren't concerned about cancel culture. We weren't concerned about, you know, what others thought. This is what we do. Y'all can do what y'all do and let things be what they are. But today is just so deep rooted in this instant gratification culture of conformity. And we're conforming at such a rate now that I have a question to pose to black people. Do black people even control their culture that you create theoretically? Or is someone actually creating a culture for you to just put on a clown suit and just play a role in? And listen, again, the BET that I grew up watching is far different than it is today. It was family-orientated content. It was breaking new entertainers in the form of comedy. It was a place where black people can watch black entertainment and feel like, hey, we're not being judged. We were bombarded with advertisement that benefited our community, right? We were, shown media and things of interest that interest our group. And we didn't have to, come out after 12 a.m. to see if there's anything left over for us to take from the table that's been prepared by other groups, right? That's what BET was when I was coming up. And again, it had integrity to a degree. And some people will have the sentiment that, hey, the former owner, Bob Johnson, right? Black man, first billionaire, African-American, that he didn't really do much for black people. And listen, he clearly had an opportunity that a lot of people really didn't have. He was obviously an entrepreneur. And also, he was at the right place at the right time. He created a network that was needed. And for whatever reason, and it's not only with Mr. Johnson, but with other black creators and entertainers and things of that nature, when we are the founders of things that we create, for whatever reason, we never hold on to it as a people, as a family. We quickly want to sell it out and sell it to other races of people. For whatever reason, we don't keep it amongst the group so that we can curate it, obviously revamp it, continue on with it, build on it, but keep it amongst us. And for whatever reason, that's just something that we just do. And maybe it's for the bag. But my thing is, we got to play the long game. And a lot of us don't play the long game. Now, listen. Bob Johnson made out. BET was sold back in 2000, I believe, for about $3 billion. And he made over $1 billion, I believe. So he's not crying poor mouth. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you sell something of value that's beneficial to black people to other races of people, you can't then expect other races of people to have the best interest for your group. You just can't. And it's not a malicious thing, but they're going to exploit your group. They're going to exploit your community. They know your warts. They know your darkest secrets. They know your insecurities. And Viacom owns BET. And they've owned them for like 21 years now. So they've been capitalizing in with an agenda that's been very successful, because it's completely destroyed the minds of this generation that we currently are living with today, because we see how they're running around in the street. But they don't even have a recollection of the past. Lil Nas X. Now listen, I want folks to know I have no hatred or animosity or ill will towards the LGBTQ communities. So I want to say that before I begin. But again, Lil Nas X, man, I just think the guy goes too far, and we're pushing the boundaries, right? And again, when you're on a platform that's supposed to be a representation of black people, and I get it, he's a black guy, so you're like, well, what's the big deal, right? Homosexuality in the black culture was always never openly accepted, as in other groups of people and other races of people. I can tell you that with 100% of surety, that it was never something that you can walk around and have your head up high in the black community, because we believed in the fundamental values and core beliefs of Christianity and the foundation of what that meant. And that meant man being with woman, woman being with man, not the opposite way. So again, we have a redefining of our culture and what's acceptable within our culture, right? And obviously times change, right? Proclivities change, right? Different generation, of course. But you have to safeguard your values, because if you don't, Malcolm X said it over 40 years ago. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And we've been falling for anything. Lil Nas X is the same man that was gyrating and dancing on the lap of the devil in his last video that he did maybe 4 months ago. And while I did watch the video to see what the big issue was about, I'm like, well, okay, he's dancing on the devil. This guy is gay. Okay. Do you over there. I don't agree with that lifestyle. I don't hate the dude. But the thing is, we as black people, we're already fractured as a people. We're not united. To have somebody like this on this particular platform, which is supposed to be a black entertainment platform, it's supposed to be an award show. It's supposed to be a family show, right? An award show is something that's a show that the general person can watch. And to have a man go up there and kiss another man on live TV in the mouth, a backup singer, I thought it went a bit too far. If you're going to be there, perform. Perform your songs, perform your hits. Your music is your music. It has nothing to do with your sexuality. Nothing like that. But your music is your music. You have a right to be celebrated. You have a right to exist and be in that space. But to me, the guy went too far kissing another man in the mouth. I thought it was disrespectful. And I don't see why no one's saying nothing about that. Listen, a couple of years ago, black people, we had an issue. We were boycotting, right? The Oscars. Oscars is so white because there wasn't enough black representatives that represented us on that particular platform. It was a predominant white venue that celebrated white people. Y'all let Jesse Williams go up there, put a battery in y'all back, and then y'all don't left him in the win because he left y'all in the win. But the reason I bring that up is because BET is supposed to be the platform for you. It's supposed to be the avenue for you to be celebrated and to represent yourself and to give yourself the flowers that you deserve to build up your self-esteem in your community. But now the man that's black that owned it at one point in time no longer saw enough value within the black community to hold on to it. He sold it. Now you have a white group of people giving you your culture, giving you a man that's been gyrating on the devil, giving you a man that's wearing women hair and women's stilettos in a modern day video. This is your black entertainment today. What did Ice Cube say, the former member of the NWA, in that diss record called No Vaseline? He said, you can't be a nigga for life with a Jew telling you what to do. No disrespect to the Jewish community, nothing like that. But what I mean is, you can't be you having somebody else dictate what's acceptable for your culture to accept, what's acceptable for your kids to be programmed, because this is a programming. Watching BET, watching all these entertainment shows, they're programming you to be accepting of whatever the message is that they're presenting to you. And that's what's happening here. And that's what Lil Nas X did. Kissed another man in the mouth. And my thing also is, right, because I represent the very small percentage of masculinity that still remains within the black race, right? I don't want to hear anybody call me gay. I don't want to hear anybody call me anti-gay, right? Because I want to be constructive in my thinking, in my criticism. And I want to deduce what I saw to as not sufficient as a representation of black culture. Because we're being force-fed something that isn't coming from a black space. We're being force-fed something that isn't coming from black people. 20 years ago, Lil Nas X would have never felt comfortable or would have never been able to come up on a black entertainment show and do what he did. Now, he would have been able to go to MTV, VH1. He would have been able to go to those venues and those award shows and do all of that. Cool. But again, what happened to the boundaries for our culture? Do we care about the boundaries for our culture? Do we want to care about protecting or even recreating those boundaries for our culture? I'm a bit concerned. And also, again, you had a lot of OGs there, folks that been in the game, in the industry, entertainment business for a very long time, such as P. Diddy. And he goes on Twitter and tweets out, "He did that. Hashtag fearless." And I chuckled, right? I'm like, Lil Nas X is fearless for kissing another man in the mouth in 2021. What's fearless about that? So I would like to ask P. Diddy, what's, if you can elaborate on that, what's fearless about what Lil Nas X did? The man was gyrating on the devil. What's fearless about that? No, what's fearless is men like me and women that think similar to how I think and feel coming on a social media platform such as YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and speaking our truth. But see, the thing is, there's a lot of people that feel the way that I feel. There's a lot of celebrities that you, the viewer, follow, love, that feel the way that I feel, but they won't say anything. And the reason why they won't say anything is because they don't want to interfere with their possibility of the future earnings that can come their way. And that's sad when you've been deduced to be mitigated from speaking the truth. Truth when it's needed for your group. And the bag is what's going to persuade you for doing the right thing. And that's always been the issue amongst black folks. You can always buy us out. We've always have, some of us you just can't buy. But for the most part, especially today, it's not a black person that you can't buy. You can pay someone to do anything. There's no allegiance. There's no decree of code that we have to follow. Nothing's going to be sanctioned against you to say, hey, well, maybe I need to rethink this. Maybe I ought to, pump my brakes and think about the consequences that may be coming with this decision that I may make, because it's going to bring ire that my race doesn't need directed at them. But this is where we at today. We got a 50-year-old man praising a young man for kissing another man in the mouth. Now listen, Puff Daddy, didn't you manage Biggie Smalls? Wasn't he one of the biggest gangster rappers at one point in time? You think if Biggie Smalls was alive today, but then again, I don't want to speak for a man that's deceased, but if you look at the associations that Puff Daddy has associated himself with throughout the years, it's kind of hip-hop, gangster rap, hardcore, hip-hop, R&B, of course, too, but for the most part, he's made a lot of his money from the rap side of things. You think those guys that you managed would have ever saw that you would be up here in 2021, 20, 30 years later, co-signing a man, kissing another man in the mouth? These are your leaders, folks. And what's sad is that the very same people that you guys admire, such as a P. Diddy, is the very same man that said that he's Christian. So where's your Christian values? Do they still exist? Or it just doesn't matter anymore because it just doesn't matter? Was that all just a front, a cap? Every time you wear a cross, every time I see somebody with a cross on, I don't assume that they are of that denomination. It could just be cosplay. That's most of the time how I look at a lot of people. I don't believe nobody is who they say they are. Until you prove it to me is then what I will then deduce after that. But I'm just going to assume that you're not who you say you are. So I'm going to ask Puffy, I'm going to ask you the viewer. And if you're Christian, and I don't mean to offend any Christians here, but I do believe in the Bible that this does refer to men not accepting a homosexual lifestyle and women not living a homosexual lifestyle. I believe God already gave his judgment on how he feels about that. I think so it's not a matter of me as the man today judging somebody that's gay or that's living that lifestyle. Like I told you, I don't care. You can live the way you live. I don't hate anybody that lives that way. But if you say you're something, I expect you to live up to what you say you are. And when you don't, you just lose credibility with me. And that leads me to the bed winching. It just won't stop. But then again, it just never stops, right? I mean, this is something that black women kind of been doing since you got to this nation, right? Since we've been brought here, right? And a lot of us been here. But since some of us was brought here to this continent, the bed winching, the continued bed winching in 2021 it just blows my mind. Like, y'all black women never heard of the story of Sarah Bartman? Maybe you haven't. But maybe you have, and maybe you just don't care because you don't pour anything into your kids, you don't teach your kids anything of any value, or some of you are just not good women. I mean, to have at an award show, again, it's a family show. An award show, it's something for the family to watch it. It's like a neutral show. You got Megan Thee Stallion up there gyrating, twerking, and I get that's what she's known for. That's what she does, right? But black women, y'all think y'all in a place right now to be celebrating a woman gyrating her ass all across the nation, millions of people watching, all across the world? This is the representation that you want to present to people about your culture, your race, your women? See, the body used to be one of the most sacred, valued things that women and men used to value. Women used to cover their bodies because they only wanted their husband or their spouse to see their bodies. Some of the most treasured things on earth, some of the most valuable things on this earth are not seen. Yeah, and still, y'all just continue to go out, take your clothes off, gyrate, twerk, clap, high five, cheer on, celebrate. And I get it. I get why these women, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, I get why these women are continuing to be celebrated amongst black women. Not all black women. But I get why there are a percentage of black women that continue to celebrate this kind of behavior that they exhibit. It's because they see themselves in them. They see the debauchery. They see the disrespect and neglect, right? In the bed winching, in the whoring of one's body for the masses to see and to experience. And since they're doing it on the highest platform and they're getting paid to do it, you are hoping to get the same opportunity. And you might say, well, how do you know that? Go on Instagram. Go on Instagram. And please, before you do, I'm not talking about any other race of women right now. I don't need to be told white women do it, other women do it. Save that. It's not what we're talking about here. Let's stay on topic. But go on Instagram. You would not find a black woman that got any kind of body. She can have any kind of body, right? Any kind of, she can have a little ass. If she got a little ass, oh, she's jumping out the window. You can't see a black woman account on any social media network, and if she got any kind of body, she's showing it. Now, if she look like trash, she gonna try to get somebody by some implants, right? But you're gonna see some form of cleavage. You're gonna see some form of buttocks. Nothing is left to the imagination anymore. Like, you don't see sundress women anymore. You know, women that used to walk around with the sundresses on or with just long dresses on, just in general. And you used to wonder as a man, like, oh, man. I know she holding. I can't say for sure, but I know she holding under that dress. But today, they throw it out there. You can see it today. Just give them about a couple of hours. They'll post something on Instagram, thirst trapping, trying to get somebody's attention. See, if you loved your body, if you loved yourself, you wouldn't need to show the entire world that you love yourself. See, loving yourself means that you have or hold yourself in high self-esteem or high esteem. So therefore, you got great self-esteem. And that's how you feel about you. And that's an internal feeling. That isn't an external feeling. So you wouldn't need to externally express that feeling of high esteem about yourself to the entire world. Because your body is not a reflection of your esteem. Your body is just an aesthetic extension of who you are. Because we all know you will age, your ass will not be as round and favorable as you age. So then what are you left with? Does your esteem go with your age? Or does your esteem go with how you internally feel about oneself? But Megan Thee Stallion up there twerking. Nobody say nothing. Everybody in the... And also you can tell how the demographic in the crowd is changed. 15, 20 years ago, you have a predominantly black crowd because it was black owned at the time. And I'm not saying that white folks didn't rock with BET. I'm not saying that white folks didn't support or watch BET. But most of the time, we were proud. That was a form and a space for us to do us. And we showed up. We showed out. Now you got more whites most of the time showing up to these award shows, especially the BET one, then you have black folks that are there. But the black folks are the one doing the most debauchery shit. And it's supposed to be a representation, a celebratory moment for you to celebrate yourself. And you choose to make a mockery of yourself again and again and again. It's so sad. And listen, the reason why these celebrities are changing, flipping their stances on a lot of the things or ways that they would have responded 20, 30 years ago, obviously is due to business. It's due to capital, right? You got to play the game. You got to be able to maneuver, blend in, adjust to the times, right? I get it. I understand that. But at the same time, what's the value of your race if you don't have culture? If you don't have respect, if you don't have dignity amongst your group? What's the value of it? When I think of black entertainment, I think of violence. I think of the over-sexualization of a woman, right? Irresponsible imagery. So, if those are the three things that we continuously keep hallmarking for the entire world to see, well then, what do you think they're going to think of the few of us that don't partake in any of that? We'll never get the opportunity to represent ourselves to the degree that the others are. We'll never be able to have the same proclivities and platforms that the others have because we're not toxic. We're not polluting the minds of our group. You have people out there that have channels bigger than mine, way bigger than mine. And they have no solutions. They don't care to have a solution. They don't care to bring any kind of tangible dialect that's even fruitful, beneficial to one. Nutritionist to, as a friend of mine would say that a member of her family would describe a woman to being or a race to being? What nutrition are we providing to each other as a race? There's none, if you think about it. So we can look to BET as being that source because it's no longer owned for us. It's no longer headed by us. So it's no longer going to benefit us. And my thing is, going forward, any black business, any kind of black enterprise that's very successful to any tangible degree of high notoriety, my thing is, I'm always looking at my watch, like, when are you going to sell it? Because you guys normally never hold on to anything. You never pass anything down that's generational like other groups do. So when are you going to sell it and then go live in the house on the hill and then have your generational wealth, of course, but then you just be a Negro at somebody else's table that you didn't set? See, that's what a lot of these celebrities are deducing themselves to becoming. And these are the same Negroes that existed 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Same Negroes. Sell out your people so you can have a seat at somebody else's table that you didn't set. And hopefully you don't lose enough cachet amongst the members of that table and they won't kick you back out to be amongst the Negroes that you've been trying to get away from for so long. I just think it's sad. I think it's unfortunate that there's no alternative form of entertainment that black folks can present to the world other than this here in America. I don't know what other blacks are doing in different regions of the world, different islands, continents, and countries of the world, as far as the entertainment. But here in America, it's nothing good. We're not presenting anything of nutrition at this point in time. So anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that.